Alright, so now you guys should see a icon on your desktop that says Git Bash. Let me grab it for you so you can see it. Right here, you should have this icon on your desktop. And this basically gives us a command line or a shell, just like the Rails installer gave us. And we're going to use this instead from now on. So it should look something like this. Okay, now you can see by default the PC I'm on is named Monster, so that's why it says my name and then Monster. Yours will say something different, whatever your computer's called. And by default they put us in the user directory, our users directory, which is not where we want to be. We want to be in our sites directory and then in our app. So we'll change directory to the C drive, and then we'll change to, well, I guess you could have done all this in one shot, but now we're in this C sites with a capital S. Alright, so now if we list the files, you'll see our folders there, our My Ruby blog folder. Let's just switch to that. And then if we list the files, it's our entire app. So this is the folder where we want to be. Okay. So the next thing I want to do, and you can also see these files in your Windows Explorer. Just go to My Computer and then the C drive, sites, My Ruby blog. So this is this. So we're in the right directory. Now what we want to do next is, remember I told you SQLite 3 is what comes as a database by default with any Rails installation. Heroku does not support that SQLite 3 database, so we need to configure our app to use Postgres. So we want to go to config, and we could do this in the command line, but this is just a lot easier for us, so we're just going to use the Windows Explorer. If you want to get really geeky, you can do the same thing in the command line. So we want to click on this database.yml file, and you can see by default we have the SQLite 3 database adapter. We want to change this to PostgreSQL. Okay, and we want to change the database name to what do we call it? My Ruby blog. Yeah, and you should also have your PostgreSQL database running, and this is it right here, My Ruby blog. This is the database. And remember that we created a username. Well, it created one for us, which is right here, Postgres. And then we have to enter our password. This is my password. Okay, and okay, that looks good. Now we have three different versions we can have for our site: development, test, and production. I'm just going to use the same for each one, so just make them all the same for now. We can worry about that later, testing and stuff. Okay, so these are all the exact same. So now we want to save the file. Okay, and the next thing we want to do is we want to install the I talked about gems a little bit. Ruby gems is just, a gem is like a pre-packaged module, kind of just a bunch of Ruby code all wrapped up in a gem that we can easily install and uninstall. And by default we have the SQLite gem installed, and it's working in the gem file, which I'll show you in a minute. But we want to install the Postgres gem, which is just PG. So we want to do gem install PG. and this will allow us to use Postgre database SQL. So that's installed. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to go over to the root of our app and click on the gem file, not the lock file, just the gem file. And then I'm just going to open this up in Notepad++, but you can use any text editor. And you'll see here we have gem SQLite 3. We want to actually comment that out, and under it we want to do gem PG and then save it. Okay, so we disabled the SQLite gem, and now the last thing you want to do before we get into Heroku is you want to do a bundle install, which will go over the all the Ruby gems again. Okay, I think that's all we need to do. So let's try to run our server now with Rails S. Alright, so now our server is running. So we want to put this shell to the edge, to the side, and then open up a new one. And again, it's the git bash icon, and you're gonna have to go back into our app folder. So do cd capital C colon / sites with a capital S my Ruby blog. What? Huh. Alright, and just do cd c sites. Huh. I don't know what's going on here. C drive and then in sites. Alright, and then just change to my Ruby blog. Alright, and then we're going to start the Heroku. We're going to install Heroku. 1 second. We're going to install the Heroku gem. So gem install Heroku. I'm probably going to end up splitting this video into 2 parts because it's getting really long. Alright, so the Heroku gem's installed. Now just run another bundle install. Alright, so now we should be able to type Heroku and then version. Alright, so it's installed. Now what we want to do is we want to start doing some git commands. Alright, so remember the first thing I told you to do that we need to do is git init. So what this did is it initialized the folder we're in. It initialized it as a repository. So the next thing we want to do is add. We want to do git add, and we want to put all of our files. So we want to put a dot. So this added everything. If you're seeing this, never mind this. It's not important right now. So after we add, 1 second, we want to do a commit. So git commit, and we want to do. We don't want to go to the comment screen, so put an M option on there, and then just write. You can put anything in here, any kind of comment. I'm just going to say initial commit. Alright, so now we should be able to log into Heroku. Heroku login, and then use the email address and then your password. And if you get some kind of question about keys, about if you want to generate a key, an SSH key, just type in Y, yes, and then that should just give you a set of keys, and it should authorize it. So, and the next thing we want to do is a Heroku create. So we'll create the Heroku app. So you can see this is the name it gave us, Nameless Stream 1006. That's the name that they gave us. We can change that later on. The next thing we want to do finally is push our app to the server, because as of now it's in that middle stage. So we do that with git push Heroku master. The master is the branch, the main branch. Okay, and we get this message that says the authenticity of host Heroku.com can't be established. You get this with any remote connection, so just type in yes and it will add it. Oh, alright, I'm getting this message, permission denied, public key. You need a key to communicate back and forth from the server. If this might have not happened to you, if it's asking you to create a new one, then click yes, create a new one. If it's doing what it's doing to me and not doing anything, just telling you it doesn't exist, then try to do Heroku keys and then colon and then add. So mine says could not find an existing public key. Would you like to generate one? So we want to do yes. And alright, so it just generated a new key for us. So now let's try it again. Git push Heroku master. Sounds like some kind of samurai. Okay. And we'll go through this rigmarole. This takes about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, if that. And after this is done, if it's successful, we should be able to visit our app live on the web through Heroku, through a Heroku URL. Okay. Writing database to okay. Looks like it read our database, our Postgres database. I mean, it takes this long to have our initial upload, but once we're developing and we're pushing just parts of files, it's not going to take that long. Alright, so you can see it was successful, and the git path is git@heroku.com nameless stream, this is the name of our app on the remote server, nameless stream 1006.git. So let's go back to Heroku in the browser. and log in if you're not already logged in. And remember, this morning reaches, this is a different app, so pay no attention to that. This is our app, and I forgot to mention that your name is going to be different than this. So I don't even know why I didn't even think of that. So don't look for this. Just know that your app is going to be named something like this, and you'll see it in this back end here. So if we go to settings, and we go down to domains, and here's our official URL for this app. So let's click on that and cross our fingers, and there it is. So now I can enter this URL to go to my app, and as we develop on our local machine, we'll make the commits and then push it to the remote server, and it'll show up here. So yeah, I mean, we're done. We deployed the app using Heroku, and we'll just update as we go along. So thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you in the next video.